Have you ever pushed yourself so hard that your body and mind feel like they're about to break? Yet, you keep going, not because you want to, but because you feel like you have to. You feel like everyone expects you to be perfect, and there's no room for weakness. But what happens when you're carrying the weight of the world and don't even know how to ask for help? High performers, especially in sports, academics, or any competitive field, often deal with this invisible struggle. You might look fine on the outside, but inside, you're battling stress, anxiety, and the constant pressure to do better. This mental struggle is something that affects a shocking number of high performers. In today's video, we're going to dive into this silent battle and explore how it can impact athletes, students, and anyone striving for excellence. The hidden battle, mental health among high performers. Let's picture this. You're a college athlete, excited to start your day, ready to perform at your best. But no matter how much you prepare, you can feel the weight building up. You're late to practice, your heart races, your mind's all over the place, and suddenly, nothing seems right. You feel like you're failing, even though you're doing your best. Why does this happen? Why is it that you can be so physically prepared, yet mentally exhausted? This mental struggle is far more common than we realize, especially in high-performing individuals. The pressure to constantly achieve, the fear of failure, and the anxiety of living up to others' expectations can become overwhelming. What starts as a desire to succeed eventually leads to burnout, where mental health becomes just as important as physical health. Why mental health struggles go unspoken? Why is it so difficult to talk about mental health in high-pressure environments like sports or business? It's simple: stigma. There's this belief that high performers should always be tough, invincible, and free from any mental health struggles. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Mental health issues, such as anxiety and depression, don't just affect people who are struggling in life, they can impact the most successful and driven individuals as well. Athletes, for instance, are often expected to push through pain, keep going no matter how they feel, and show no signs of weakness. But this pressure, this culture of constantly grinding, is dangerous. It makes it hard for athletes to acknowledge their own mental health struggles. It's not about being weak, it's about being human. Everyone has limits, and understanding those limits is crucial to maintaining both physical and mental well-being. The pressure to be perfect, a day in the life. Imagine waking up at 6 a.m., already behind schedule. You're racing to the gym, heart pounding from the sprint, but your mind is still stuck on the test you studied for till 2 a.m. You barely had time to sleep, but you have no choice but to power through. The practice starts, but your mind is elsewhere, trapped in a cycle of stress and fear of failure. Now, add an overwhelming school schedule to that. Classes, assignments, exams, and meetings pile up while you're already physically and mentally drained. The expectations keep building, your performance at practice, the grades you have to keep up, and the social interactions you can't neglect. You can't afford to let anyone down, yet you're already on the brink of exhaustion. You tell yourself to push through, to just get through the day. But what happens when pushing through isn't enough anymore? What happens when it feels like you're running on empty? Mental illness, more common than you think. We often hear about physical injuries like torn ligaments or sprained ankles in athletes, but mental health issues are just as real and just as dangerous. In fact, studies show that 30% of athletes experience depression or anxiety at some point. Yet, many athletes are hesitant to acknowledge it, afraid of being seen as weak or unable to handle the pressure. This is a major issue in the sports world, where the culture often dismisses the importance of mental health. When you're dealing with constant pressure, whether from your sport or your job, it becomes hard to know when you're pushing too far. You may think you can keep going, but the mental toll can be just as damaging as any physical injury. The key is understanding that it's okay to take a step back, to acknowledge your mental health, and to seek help when needed. Breaking the silence, a call to action. If you're struggling with mental health in any form, whether it's anxiety, depression, or stress, you're not alone. It's time to break the silence and start a conversation. High performers, like athletes, often feel like they have to be perfect all the time, but that pressure isn't sustainable. It's okay to ask for help and take care of your mental well-being. We need to create a culture where mental health is just as important as physical health. Imagine a world where athletes, students, and professionals alike could openly talk about their struggles without fear of judgment. A world where it's okay to admit that you're feeling overwhelmed and where taking a mental health day isn't seen as weakness, but as strength. Dealing with anxiety and depression, finding support. In the journey of overcoming mental health struggles, it's important to remember that there is support available. Therapy, support groups, and medication are all valid options to help manage mental health issues. It's also essential to surround yourself with a supportive community, whether that's teammates, friends, or family. When you feel like you can't go on, having a strong support system can make all the difference. Seeking help doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to face your struggles head-on and work through them. If you're struggling, don't be afraid to talk to someone. Reach out to a professional, a friend, or family member. You're not in this alone. Creating a healthy balance, prioritizing mental well-being. Achieving success, whether in sports, academics, or your career, requires balance. It's not just about pushing yourself to the limit, it's about taking care of yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally. Prioritizing mental health doesn't mean sacrificing your goals. It means finding ways to achieve them while still taking care of your well-being. When you make your mental health a priority, everything else falls into place. You will be more focused, more driven, and better equipped to handle the challenges that come your way. The importance of rest and recovery. One of the biggest challenges high performers face is knowing when to rest. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and forget the importance of rest and recovery. Whether it's taking time off from training or simply getting enough sleep, rest is crucial for both physical and mental health. When you're well rested, you'll have the energy and clarity to perform at your best. Overcoming stigma, embracing mental health. The stigma surrounding mental health is one of the biggest barriers athletes and high performers face. Society often views mental health issues as a weakness, but this couldn't be further from the truth. Mental health is just as important as physical health, and it's time we stop treating it any differently. It's okay to have off days, and it's okay to seek help. Taking care of your mind should be just as normal as taking care of your body. The takeaway: you are not alone. If you're struggling with mental health, remember that you're not alone. The silent struggle many high performers face is more common than you might think. It's okay to acknowledge your feelings, take a break, and seek support when needed. High performance doesn't mean perfection. It means doing your best while taking care of yourself along the way. So, let's start the conversation. Let's make mental health a priority in sports, in the workplace, and in our personal lives. Together, we can break the stigma and create a culture where mental health is valued just as much as physical performance. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on mental health, high performance, and achieving success while taking care of yourself. Remember, you're not alone. We're all in this together.